Hello everyone, this is Gargi Shekhar from Maya Group of Colleges, Dehradun. The subject for today is livestock production and the topic of today is housing of livestock. We must understand what this housing means. Housing means to provide shelter and protection to the animals which we keep as a livestock. So it is nowadays becoming very essential due to the following points. The first is intensification of the animal farming, large conglomeration of the animals in a small area due to adverse effect of the climate to protect animals from the predators and for better production of the performance of animals. Now, we must know why do these animals need a house. It is for protection, of course, the protection from the predators. Then for hygiene, because we need to maintain the hygiene of the livestock we keep in our farms. Then for the easy management of the managers and to provide comfort to the animals. Before time we had old cattle sheds which had many disadvantages, like it was being unhygienic, as we can see in this figure. It was not durable. Even climatic conditions were not suitable for them. It was unprotective and the animals were always fed by the predators. There was wastage of urine and the manure, and there was no place for food and water. So what we decided was to make a modern barn which is suitable for all types of animals. Now, this is a well-designed cattle shed which has continuous water supply, feed through, and places to lie for the animals. There is separate place for every cow and there is a good drainage line. Now we should understand, for the selection of the site we have to keep certain criterias or points in our mind. The first is close to the house. Any cattle shed should be kept close to the house of the owner. That is, the managers should be living very near to the farms. Then there should be an elevated ground. The reason for the elevated ground is that the farms or the barns we are making should have a proper elevation so that the excreta of the animals can come down easily. Then it should be well ventilated because animals need comfort of ventilation. There should be adequate sunlight and adequate space of future expansion or construction of a biogas unit should be seen at the time of selection of the site. Now, for the floor plan, as an engineering point of view, we should have a feeding through, then water pots, a lying area which should be well established, like 4 feet 6 inches should be the maximum size of it. Then separate fences should be kept. There should be a drain for the excreta and manure, and there should be space for calves to live in. Look, we cannot keep the cattle and the calves or the cows and the calves together. So we have to keep a separate lying area for calves and for the livestock or the cattle. Now you can see here the side elevation. The side elevation shows that there is an elevation in the middle part of the construction. This is due to we have to keep some follow through of the feed and follow through for the drain of the excreta. This is the side elevation. You can look, there is a supply drain, and in which we can put the excreta of the cow, and the thorough channel is there where the managers can move and the cows can stand or sit or lie comfortably. Then is the water supply. Water supply is very important for the animals because water is always needed for good food and feed. So what we do is we keep an overhead tank filled with water, and there are water tubes or water channels. There is a ball valve at the main water pot, and this main water pot is connected with tubes with the small water pots, and this helps in continuous supply of water to the water pots. As you can see in this figure, there is a groundwater ball valve which is kept at the opening of the tank, and there is a pipeline given with the walls which is helping the laterals to reach to the water pots. As you can see, there are some joints in the tubes. How we fit is we keep the water ball to the upper elevation of the pot, and we use the flower pots to supply the water. Now the feed through. The feed through is the area where the animals feed. So we have to keep it with a continuous supply of the feed, and it should be easily accessible to the animals, and also with a good water supply, as already discussed. Then the floor and the drainage system. The floor and the drainage system is very important for the animals. We have to align the lanes or the drains very nicely. There should be non-slippery floors, that is, we should not use any kind of tiles. It should be easy to wash, so there is a slide given to the floor so that all the wastage and the excreta comes easily down and is cleaned. The dung and urine wash is done into the drains, and it is then laterally drained out. Then comes the separation fences. There are different types of separation fences we can see over here. It is basically to separate the animals. It is to ensure the comfort of them, and there should be durability in the fences so that the animals, if they get violent, don't break the fences. Then is the defects of the construction. It is very important to know whether whatever site we have made is not having any of the defect. The first defect is no water supply. Any shed which is not having a good water supply or a continuous water supply is a defect in the construction. Then comes the no feed through. The feed through should be in such a way that the manager can easily put the feed inside. And the drains should be elevated in such a way that no particle or no kind of excreta is kept inside the drain for long period of time. Then comes defect in spacing. We should neither give too much of length or breadth to the separating area or to the spacing. We should not let the dung lie in the lying area. Wherever the cows or the cattle are being kept and they are using it as a lying area, we should try to keep that area very clean. And next, there should not be a dirty floor. As shown in the figure, sometimes we see in the cattle sheds there are a lot of dung and urine kept just beneath the animals. This is a type of defect in spacing. Then comes too little space. Sometimes in order to put a lot of animals together, what we do is we just cut off the space. So this is again a defect in the spacing. If the animal cannot lie down comfortably or is having a competition as shown in the figure, this is again a defect in spacing. Then comes separation fence. If there is no fence as it is shown in this figure, the first one, if there is no space for the bigger animals, then it is a defect. If there is an incomplete fence as shown in the second figure, that is again a type of defect. If there is incomplete construction or a wooden separation, it is again a defect in the fencing. Then comes defects in the feed through. At no stage, if we give no stage to the animals to eat, it is very difficult for them. So this is a defect of the feed through. Then feed tank is difficult to clean or the feed gets spoiled in the feed tank. This is a defect again. Then comes no feed through supply on the wastage floor. If we keep the supply of feed through in such a way that it comes to the waste floor, that is again a defect in the feed through. Then comes defect in the water supply. If there is no water supply or the animals cannot reach the water pots easily, that is a major defect in the water supply. So what we have to do is we have to keep a checklist of a well managed cattle farm. That is the first one: clean, fresh, continuous water supply, adequate, unspoiled food in the troughs, dry, not slippery floor, dung and urine directed to cover the dung pit or biogas unit, well thatched roof, no smell, healthy looking animals, and of course well ventilations. Now we should know what are the different types of animal housing. There are 3 types of animal housing. The first one is conventional barn, the second is loose housing, and the third is free ranges. The first one, conventional barns, are also called as station barns. Cows are confined together on a platform and kept tied by the station or a neck chain. The swine are not kept in confined barns, rather they are let free. The animals and men caring the animals for animals less than free exposed to adverse weather conditions. Barns remain hygiene and disease prevalence is less. Conventional barns are recommended in temperate Himalayan regions. As you can see in the figure, this is a conventional barn. You have to keep a walk-through alley inside, and there are stations where the cows are kept very comfortably and separately. There is a well ventilated roof over there which is thatched away, and there are ventilations from the windows, as you can see in the figure. Then comes the loose housing or the loose barns, keeping the animals close in an open paddock or pasture throughout the day and night except at milking time. The open paddock is provided with shelter along one side. The common watering tank is provided and the fodder is fed with common mangers. Concentrates are fed at the time of milking, which is done in separate milking barns. Self-feeding is practiced in loose system of housing. Open paddock is enclosed by means of half walls or a plain wire fence of convenient height. All types of livestock can be housed and managed under loose housing. The housing system is suitable in all parts of the country except the temperate Himalayan regions and heavy rainfall area. However, slight modification of the extra fittings may be necessary. The loose housings are cheaper to construct, easier to expand, and flexible in utility. Feeding and management of stock is easier because of the common feeding and watering management. Animals feed comfortably, and about 10 to 15% of the stock can be accommodated in the loose housing for short duration of time. As stated here, the parameters for this loose housing is labor saving, that is in loose housing it is more and in the conventional barns it is less. Stabilizing the cost is less in loose barns and in very more in the conventional barns. The comfort to cows is more in the loose barns as well as is less in the conventional barns. Health of the animal is better in the loose barns but very good in the conventional barns. Heat detection in the cow is easier in loose housings but is tough in the conventional housings. Benefit of the sunlight to cows is more in the loose barns but is less in the conventional barns. The cows tend to remain cleaner in the conventional barns but it is tough to maintain the cleanliness in the loose barns. The benefits of exercise due to movement is very high in the loose barn system but is low in the conventional barn system. The enlargement or expansion of the shed is very easy and less expensive in the loose housing system but is difficult and more expensive in the conventional barn system. The efficiency and profitability is more in the loose housing and less in the conventional barns. The quality of milk is good in the loose barn system but is better in the conventional barn system. So here you should understand that on the parameters we can undergo that the housing of the loose barn system and the conventional barn system are more or less good enough. As you can see here, this is the loose housing of the cattle and buffalo. They are free to move here and there. They are free to have a contact with other animals and their laying area is quite good. As you can see in the next figure, this is loose housing of the sheep and goats. You can see there are water pots kept inside and the animals are kept free to move in the barn. Now comes the free ranges. The free ranges are also called as ranches, indicate a type of management, leaving the stock free in the large estimate. The area is natural or cultivated pasture land with watering points and shelter. This housing is suitable for the animals that are not handled daily like beef cattle or sheep. There is a scope of rearing of sheep on the ranch condition in the northwestern and hilly regions of the country. As you can see over here, this is a sheep rearing ranch system. They are free to move here and there and graze because we need not to keep an eye on them in a daily basis. and the beef cattle are reared in the ranch system as shown in this figure. So that is all for today. Thank you. We will be discussing more housing principles in the next lecture. Thank you. Have a nice day.